Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor podcast.
But why don't we get into what we like to talk about here? We might as well just get to it.
What?
It's that time to talk about BIP on our show.
Ooh,
that's Bachelor
that works
Paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was better, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know what that means. I need first of all, shout out to our YouTube. We're at 100 subscribers, so I'm just gonna have to give us a round of applause. Officially 100 on YouTube now. So thank you, whoever did subscribe and stayed there. And then also we're gonna need you to go ahead and subscribe so we can have more than 100, and smash that thumbs up button and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we drop new Bachelor content, just like this. And if you just like did this. I just gotta let you know, oh my goodness, huge shout out to you. Air horns for you. You know, and I got to give a quick shout out to our comment crew. We got a new guy left in another language a comment. You know, I'm still going to take that. Robert Gaines, thank you for that. It was like not even letters. So, I mean, English letters or American letters. I don't know how you would say that.
Oh, wow.
And also Chelsea Allen and Kathleen Kent, the homies. Shout out to you, girls, because, you know, you guys really making me have something to read when I come to these videos and look back on them. So
love that. I love that. Yeah, I see their comments too. And
you guys are the real MVPs of these videos. But V, why don't we just get started? We're in week 3, episode 4 and 5, part 1, part 2, whatever way it's going to get very confusing very fast. But this is where we're at. You know, I'm not gonna lie. For some reason, I DVR it on my computer and it wasn't allowing me to watch it. I had no time to watch episode 1, but I did watch our Tipsy Talks on the Future Bachelor on Instagram that you do, you know, live watch with every episode. So great place to catch up. You know, getting spoiled a little bit on episode 1, but I did watch episode 2, got caught up. Where do we start with night 1?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't really think you missed too much for night 1. But yeah. Night 1, we're left from last week. Teddy has just left. Rodney has just entered the beach. He was going to give his date card. He was going to take Teddy on his date. And, you know, they're all like, she's gone. She left. Some rumors I'm seeing on the internet is that producers were really trying to force the her and Andrew storyline.
That's what I said from week 1 about this. You know, and she was starting to feel Rodney, and they were like not going to really let her feel that out, and so she was like, I gotta bounce. Yeah. So interesting. If that's the truth, that really just sucks.
I think it sucks, and well, that would to me align with the fact that like I guess like Teddy hasn't really been promoting being on Bachelor in Paradise and stuff like that. So that to me would align like if she felt like, you know, she didn't really get to experience it fully. But totally. Sad stuff. But Rodney decides he doesn't want to go on his date because also it's like super late. I feel like this season we're getting to know a little bit more about how the shooting schedule for this show works because, you know, we're hearing more about like, oh my God, it's almost midnight. Like, are you going to take somebody on this date? Like, and we're learning more about how long these days can be for filming.
And I would have to imagine like, you know, with having like the reserves at the hotels, you don't want to be leaving people like locked up for so long, you know? And also with the dynamics of everything, they have probably like some type of player to introduce if something actually happens to break it up. You know what I'm saying? So I would just say it's a pretty complicated like, you know, scenario for.
It's like producers. Tetris. I feel like you know
you got to fit in these pieces, and sometimes they don't work. Like we'll see later on. This week, but so you know that's pretty much stuff going on. But what's new for this week?
So, yeah, I guess, like, Rodney, you know, doesn't give his date out. So instead, he's just hanging out with everybody on the beach. And he ends up, you know, Lace is like, I've been waiting for somebody to come down and catch my eye. And Rodney's that guy. And so Rodney and Lace start, you know, hanging out a little bit, getting cozy. They make out a little bit on the beach. And they might be an item. So just, you know, they first get out and everyone's calling them like the wild card couple, which I really think like Sierra and Michael A feel like a wild card couple as well. Like I don't I mean, I think they're cute and they like each other, but we'll talk more about it in a second. But like, I'm like, they don't, to me, they never matched. But they really are the way that, so they extended this season to be up until Thanksgiving, actually. So, you know, that, and the way that I think they're doing that is that they're really pulling out this whole Ashley I and Jared, you know, time that they're on the beach with everybody. So, you know, Wells did another Wells story time and talks all about like, because, you know, most of these younger new people are all like, who are Ashley I and Jared, aka most of the men. Most of the men have no idea who these people are. A lot of the girls have watched the show, so like they get it. But they, and like, so, you know, he does a whole like, here's the whole story, and they have clips of them and whatever. And this is when I realized how I was like, Clare Crawley, she was the one who technically like came in, snagged Jared, and like was the, you know, apple of Jared's eye after Ashley's whole attempts failed. So I'm like, dang, Claire was,
Throwback.
Throwback for sure. But
more on Claire later.
But yeah, more on Claire later. But honestly, it was a lot of this episode was like Jared and Ashley I like really talking about how this is their only time away from their kid. This is their time to like reclaim being like, you know, sexy, fun adults, and then like failed attempts of them like actually booming in the boom room.
Oh, no.
Which I'm like, I'm bored. Like, I don't want to see 20 minutes of this. Like, it was truly like, I think Bachelor Data did a breakdown of screen time, and I think they were like,
they got more screen time than any other couple.
Than any other couple, which I'm like, no one gives a poop. I don't care.
I don't know, though. I kind of do. I don't know. I kind of do like the crossover, like, you know, having their own story. It's kind of nice to see.
I like to see Wells, like, how he tells his stories, because I love Wells. But I'm like, I want to also, like, see Wells be more Wells. I don't want him to just have to be, like, feed these stories to fill up time.
Right. I mean, it is kind of interesting too. Like, he does feel like a I guess another host on the show, like on the beach host, and there's like an entrance host.
He's like the real host, because like Jesse just greets people.
Yeah, what the hell is that about?
That's all Jesse does.
You would think they would have more for him to do.
I mean, I'm sure he's living his best life. He's just
totally.
chilling.
But yeah, so we get a lot of Ashley and Jared. So they don't smash. What happens? Why?
Because Ashley you know, the food at the beach, all this Mexican food, all this dairy, all these beans weren't agreeing with her tummy. She was real gassy. They just pretty much show like multiple scenes of them like on those night cameras, like of her farting.
Like, are they sleeping, or is she like, I got one?
As they're like about to go to sleep. And she's all like,
just openly farting?
Yep.
And what is he doing?
He's just like, oh man, these are real bad. Like, you know, like.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enough of them.
Yep.
Enough of them. We also, so Genevieve and Shanae are coming back from their double dates with Aaron and James. And this is honestly the season of it being everybody's frickin' birthday while they're on the beach, because it was just Genevieve's birthday and now it's Justin's birthday. So, you know, they get back. Genevieve's feeling some kind of way because she's all like, yo, me and Aaron really vibing. I just feel like me and Justin aren't a thing anymore. And she goes and talks with Justin and is trying to, honestly, I think she was trying to start to let him down easy, but then also was all like, you don't make me feel wanted. And then he was all like, he was kind of fighting back at it. And it just turned into, you know, him asking for her to kiss him because it's his birthday. And she does it. And meanwhile, Aaron and James are creeping and like they're doing like little flashbacks to how last season this was like the same thing that happened with Tammy and Thomas. And it was like the same day bed, the same whatever. They're like deja vu. And Aaron like kind of loses it again because he's all like, nah, like this can't be happening to me again. And like immediately after Genevieve kisses Justin, she puts her head into her hands and she's all like, and then like stomps away. And like has to go like run up to the guys' rooms where Aaron and James are like doing some like buddy shower time. And like, you know, has to wait outside the door until Aaron is done with his shower to then go and talk to him.
He's probably talking shit also.
Oh yeah.
Talking shit in shower.
Talking shit in the shower. Yeah, for sure. But she, apologizes to him. He tells her how, like, that obviously made him feel hurt, but like he gets it, and like they reset and they're good to go. And then pretty much the next morning, because Justin tried to leave it with her that night, being all like, sleep on it, in the morning, like we can talk more. And then like in the morning, she pretty much is all like, no. And like they kind of get into a big old fight about it. And Justin's all like, never mind, like it's over. Like I don't, like you're obviously showing your true colors to me. Like I don't see anything happening with you. And then Genevieve is happy-go-lucky. Her and Aaron are doing good. So, I mean, Justin now is without a rose. He's just waiting, to see if somebody will come down for him. And then, in better news, Brandon's and Serene get a date card. Well, Brandon gets a date card, obviously takes Serene. And it's the typical paradise date where they have like a dinner in the middle of a pool and like it's super romantic. And I hope they waited 30 minutes after eating to then go swimming in the pool, or else they could, hurt their tummies and drown. And they say that they're falling in love with each other. They seem like the strongest couple there. So hopefully with what it looks like is going to happen next week, that won't fuck anything up. But
yeah, I just think Brandon's smarter than what they're going to throw the other guy's way. Like, I mean, for sure.
I agree.
Like,
he's in it.
Yeah. And she just like already a catch. Like
Serene is the greatest.
You would have to like be stupid to mess that up.
Fuck that up, for sure.
I mean, they really do put him through the ringer eventually. But yeah, so that's good for them. What happens with Michael A?
Michael A is freaking out with how fast him and Sierra are going. Because like Sierra is like fully like full throttle, like talking about like what being a future stepmom would be like, really like kind of like trying to like get into the exclusivity talk, trying to like really nail down how they're a strong couple. And Michael A is like, like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for, somebody to be saying that kind of stuff to me just yet. Like, I obviously want to find love, but like the grief part, like he's like, I don't think I'm ready to put that on Sierra, and I don't know if like this is like the right place. And
do you think he got freaked out? Like, I didn't see the conversation, but was she just kind of like overstepping?
I think she was just like obviously excited because I think they had like a good connection. And like what I've seen from social media, like after this has aired and stuff, like in the past couple of days, is that they seem to have like a lot of mutual respect. And I think I think she just was like really like ready to be like all in. And I just think he was not ready to do that yet, just based on, I think, he still has a lot of healing to do or grieving. And like, I think grief is a non-linear situation. And I just don't know if he's like fully ready to be.
I think what it is, to be honest, not to cut you off, but just thinking like he's a grown man. Like, he's out here
with a child. Yeah.
He's trying to find someone that he's like sure about, like, especially while he's in this experience. He's worked really hard to be the zaddy that she keeps saying that he is. But so I just think he wasn't ready. And if she was talking about all that stuff, being like a stepmom and stuff, it's important conversations to had, not like within the first week of meeting somebody.
I agree, and I think it was just a little bit too much. And she actually gifts him 3 stars that are in the sky together, that were to represent him, his son James, and his late wife Laura. That I think was super sweet. Good move on obviously the Bachelor Productions part to like help her get those. And like he kind of like lets her down then, being all like, you mean so well and you're so thoughtful and like you're amazing and I really do like you, but like I just don't think I'm ready for where you're at. And I don't know if it's fair for me to, continue this with somebody when like I don't want to hurt you if I'm like just like trying to like cover my grieving feelings that I have still about my late wife. And so because of that, she pretty much decides that that's her cue to leave because she doesn't want to see him dating anybody else, and she really doesn't have eyes on anybody else. So she self-eliminates. So we've had two ladies self-eliminate, Teddy and Sierra. And so that means
there's a lot of guys stacking up on the beach.
A lot of dudes. So there's only 7 women
left.
What
is this, F-Boy Island?
Literally, though. Literally, though. And that would mean, unless another woman came down, that would mean that 5 dudes would go. Huh?
Yeah, I don't think they have enough in the reserves. This is making me think like this is getting crazy. Like,
yeah,
well, I don't know. Like, I really do wonder if this was what's coming up like next week has actually been the plan all along, or they were just like.
If they had to pull an audible.
Yeah, they maybe had more girls than guys, or I don't know what it like. I wonder if this was like a Hail Mary, what they're planning on doing next week. But besides that, so that's pretty much night 1.
Yep, that's night 1. Right. And the little after thing was pretty much showing how Shanae and Genevieve are like pals now. Like they've been talking to each other about their relationships. They've like come to terms and reconciled for the shit that they said to each other during their season. And you know what? Women supporting women. We love to see it. We love this redemption arc between the both of them.
Totally. And you know what? I also think that it could be not just a women thing. Like, I think it's more of like if we really took the time to realize what 2 people don't like each other about, it's usually over something stupid. Like stupid.
Like it was over Clayton typically. Like, oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
Clayton?
Exactly. Anyway. I mean, you could really in the right scenario, 2 people that really don't enjoy each other could actually, end up liking each other. Right. Something that going into night 2 where I get to catch up. I feel like what's the older guy? Not
Casey.
Casey, yeah. I wasn't feeling him this episode at all.
No, because he was just bitter this entire episode. But
yeah. Before we get into his bitterness, the woman of the hour, literally 1 hour, is Salley. Yeah. She finally comes down to meet her suitcase. Woman of the hour. Woman of an hour.
Woman of an hour. She finally comes down, and people are questioning. They're questioning, is she finally ready to be there? What's the deal? And the dudes are like excited to see another girl because they're like, thank God, another girl. And Justin's excited because obviously things with Genevieve didn't work out, things with Victoria didn't work out, and he made out with Salley at Stagecoach. And so he's like, I can get in on this. And so they talk a little bit. She comes in acting like she knows what's going on, acting like she's like in it, acting like she's ready to rock and roll.
But in reality, she has no experience.
In reality, she literally has never been on the show, doesn't understand how it works. And and obviously she really just didn't even want to be there. So
yeah, I mean, she's a walking red flag. To be honest, like she's beautiful. I'm sure she has a great personality.
I'm sure she's
outside.
Nice.
But you see it so much. You see it where just someone is so attached to probably a problematic relationship. And they can't break away from it. They make any excuse for why what they're doing is right. Exactly. I mean, in a year or 2, they'll probably bring Salley back to the beach or something like that, and she's gonna be like ready for it maybe if she can like separate from this guy. But obviously, he's got such a hold on her that like she's there to not embarrass him. Like that's her number one thing. Genevieve and Shanae ask her like, hey, like what's the deal? Which is kind of bullying. Like, I mean, they probably shouldn't have like ganged up on her. I agree. But they're trying to make sure. This is what I don't like about the beach. It's like they get very Lord of Fliesy. Very territorial, very like it becomes very, like a seniority thing. Like if you're not an OG, like if you didn't come down like within like the first like week or the first week, you're kind of like, what are you doing here? Especially, when you're coming in, because everyone's very defensive. Everyone's very, territorial, and scared to lose like whatever connection. Because it really is like at any moment, anything can happen, you know, even when you're the happiest, they'll just throw in whatever. And there's a lot of that this episode. But she ends up like, you know, not wanting to be there and walking off, and you know,
she literally like gets so upset and says that she's too real for it, and then she leaves, just because these girls were like, yo, so like, were you with your ex-fiance? Like, and she's like, well, I work with him, that's why. And they're all like, just working with somebody doesn't mean you don't get on a plane 3 times. Like, well,
Justin tries to get her to stay, you know, but I don't know, man.
I guess a stagecoach makeout is not enough.
Yeah, I think Justin has kind of like a shitty attitude, to be honest. Like, I think he went in there just trying to save himself. He wasn't really. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I just feel like he's like, every time you see him, he's just got a long face. Like, he's just like saying, like, he's just very monotone and just like, you know, not with it. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just kind of, even if it sucks there, like, I feel like you could still have like look at, what's his name? Andrew, you know, he's kind of in the same situation, not in the sense that like this exact same situation, but he's got a smile on his face, like, you know,
he's still making the best of it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what.
And Justin's acting like everything bad's just happened. He's like, I've been through the ringer. You don't even know. And I'm like,
I honestly can't feel bad for him for turning down Victoria. Like, you know,
I know, right?
I mean, it seems like he was that was probably gonna happen anyways, but yeah. So Salley ends up going home.
Yep. Quick in, quick out.
Quick in, quick out.
She's gone.
So yeah. Anyways, we end up thinking they're gonna send more ladies in, but that's not the case.
But instead, they send Pizza Peter from that was Michelle's season, right? Mm-hmm. Send him down with a date card. And already Casey is like, this dude's a douchebag. He's going to talk about pizza the whole time. And then he like tries to counter it each time, being all like, I mean, maybe he could be like Shanae, who, you know, comes in with a good attitude and like redeems himself.
Yeah, but
like,
then he's like, he's a little
douche like the entire time.
You know, and I was actually, you know, you kind of
I wanted Pizza Peter to maybe redeem himself.
I was hoping Casey was going to be wrong. But it was just one of those things, like every time like he said something, they would cut away to him being correct.
Doing exactly that. And it's, I mean, I know. Well, so Pizza Peter, he gets his date card. He takes Brittany, who we haven't seen enough.
Oh my gosh. Like, I totally would be about Brittany. Like, she's
I know.
So
we
cool.
haven't seen enough time with her. She hasn't really made a solid connection with anybody yet. We're excited to get more Brittany.
And well, that's why Casey's upset, because Casey thinks he has dibs.
Casey was like trying to get, you know, a rose from Brittany. Yeah. So that's definitely
we all know Casey's going home.
I mean, yeah. But they go on like a yacht date. And literally Pizza Pete talks about himself, brags about himself, asks like this hot girl what was the first thing she saw in him, and then like continues to brag and literally doesn't ask her like any questions about herself that we see as viewers. And she, the queen of a swerve, swerves his kiss because he tries to be all like, I think I can make this day even better. And then she swerves away real quick, being all like, oh, you know, it takes me a while for me to warm up to that. Like, I literally just met you. Like, blah,
wait,
blah,
did
blah.
she lie, though? Because I thought I seen her making out with Casey. She's like, I haven't kissed anybody yet.
I don't know. I don't remember if I saw her kiss Casey or if she was just cuddling up on Casey. So I don't know.
But, yeah, I mean, people could say that they don't learn anything from the show. But, like, even as a viewer, like, if any, like, it just you have to have some self-awareness. Stop talking about yourself. First of all, like, have the other person, like, ask them questions so they can talk.
Are you like actually interested in her? Or are you just interested in, like, even when before he went on the date, he's all like, I can't wait to tell her more about my life
and my story. It's like, dude, come on.
That's
like,
not how a date works. And
even us as a viewer, like, I want to know more about Brittany.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And
Alexa,
so they come back
on.
and obviously like Brittany pulls people aside to be all like, I got to get away from him to like tell you guys what really went down. And she tells him how bad it was because she comes back like looking like rough. And then he is like telling the dudes being like, I mean, I did everything. I was laying down the moves. Like if this were any other situation, like me and the girl would be like, whatever. Like I think she's fake. I don't think she has genuine intentions because like I don't know what, like pretty much his ego was hurt. And he's trying to make up excuses for why she wouldn't kiss him. And like, honestly, like, cause he's like telling Casey and I think like Andrew or somebody else this, and you could tell none of the dudes were really buying it. They were like asking him questions like, so wait, why do you think?
I mean, they've been talking shit about him all day. So they were loaded and ready to go. But I mean, I just wish like I had the chance, like, you know, he had, you know, it's just like, dude, you just completely fumbled the bag. Like, oh man,
fumble.
I mean, cause she was they had the yacht, they had the champagne. She was into him. And
and she's like, we even had an initially like good combo. I thought it would be good, but nope. So she comes back, and Andrew makes a move because like they had.
Well, before that though, like he really shoots himself in the foot. First of all, like he's known for like, you know, bringing the drama to his front door, but you know, he starts making another assumption about Brittany. Like I feel for this girl because like he's all being like, I know girls like that in Miami,
in Fort Lauderdale, and SoFlo, like they're just clout. Fake. Yeah,
it's like, dude, am I not enough for like you to have clout? It's like, dude, you're exactly what you're talking about her being and stuff.
He's
she's the sweetest, and she gave you a chance and stuff. Like, dude. But anyways, so Andrew comes out on top here.
Andrew comes out on top because, like, I guess they had sort of been talking before, and they both were thinking about each other, and they hang out and they talk, and they realize that they both are vibing, and they had Brittany went from being like, oh, I like to take things slow to like dropping her wine glass in the sand and making out with Andrew. And I was all like, we love to see it. Let's get after it. Let's go.
Yeah, like, I wonder how Teddy feels about this, watching it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like the next day. But I don't know. We'll have to see if she says anything about like this afterwards. But, you know, they got the non-disclosures and all that stuff to not talk about things, but yeah, good for Andrew. It looks like he's going to be sticking around, and that's good for the producers too, because that's what they wanted. But yeah, what happens next?
So Jacob gets a date card and takes Jill. They've been vibing. They're both weird. Honestly, I feel like they're meant for each other. They're both kind of weird. They both like to do like weird yelly things. Like, you know what? Let them do their things, and
weird,
they seem to vibe.
Things.
Weird yelly things. And so they go on this full moon date where the Shaw woman does some like full moon tantric things. And of course they get naked, because what would it be if Jacob wasn't naked? And of course Jill's like, you know what, fine, I'll do it too. And they seem to be happy as clams. They come back. They're all Gucci. Everybody, while they're gone, it's also Serene's birthday now. Another birthday to the list. And her sweet man's, Brandon, heard from her that like she told some story about how like nobody showed up to her birthday party as a kid, and so she's always hated her birthday. And so he like gathers everybody around, and they all sing to her and like give her this cake, and she feels so special. And
it's
like,
kind of crazy, like the people that you've been like hanging out with can make it feel like a surprise party just by coming in a group. Like I
know, it was so sweet.
They were the worst singers I've ever heard for the happy birthday song. I'm not gonna lie.
Nobody's voice sounds good singing happy birthday.
I mean, with all these people that are trying to be on TV, you would think that at least one person can sing here. You know?
Nobody sounds good singing here. Nobody.
Oh man.
Anyways, and then they pan to, Jared and Ashley, who have been on the beach just hanging out with everybody. And they finally go to the boom boom room and they do the boom boom. Good for them. Happy for them.
Yeah, see, this is kind of fun that they're like just down with Paradise people just partying away from their baby for a week or something,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, and they're honestly,
getting a little tipsy and stuff, like you could tell.
And I laughed so hard because they used all these like different like innuendos and stuff for like on the screen that they played, like, doing taxes. Like they showed like this water spout going, like all these different things, like mowing the lawn, like all these different things. Like when they were like,
I bet you there was so much pressure for them to bang too. Like they're like, we have to do it tonight. Like,
we have to bang. We have to get it. Like we're staying in the boom boom room.
They're like, that was like the whole point. They're like, we'll pay you all this money. You just have to bang on camera.
You just have to. Yeah, you have to. And then they even like they show the exact time. They're like 7 minutes and like 37 seconds or something like that. And
They're like, they speed it up. That's so funny.
it was hilarious. But anyway, so Jacob and Jill come back from their date. Everybody's happy for them. They're having a great time. And guess who arrives? Guess who arrives on the beach out of freaking nowhere?
Who?
Kira.
Of course. They're like, we got to throw somebody back. I mean, this is classic challenge things, though. Like, you know, in when you watch like MTV's The Challenge and stuff, usually when someone like gets injured and they have to leave and there's like just too many people for like a woman's elimination or something like that, they bring back someone that just got eliminated because they're already there. It helps out the game, you know. It's just kind of like you got lucky this time around. But yeah, so she comes back and she thinks that she's going to pull Jacob, which I was like really confused. I'm like, what's going on?
I was really confused too because like all she ever did with Jacob was like the weird, like she showed up and leaves and whatever to try to get like his rose. Like I didn't even see any sort of connection really.
Well, I mean, I did. They did the whole like, you know, Tarzan and Jane thing.
Yeah, but that's it.
But yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting how Jill and Kira keep like circling around the same guys.
Same dudes.
Yeah. I wonder if that's a production thing.
I think it's a production thing to just like try to pit people against Jill. Like it was like pit the whole Jill and Kira thing against each other.
You know
and,
how
like,
crazy it is that we can just say like, is that a production thing? Like it just feels like we say that a lot these days, you know?
I know, because we know too much now. We just know how it works.
So they have a talk that goes on a little longer than everyone expected.
I know, and like even Brittany, our girl Brittany, the queen, she comes in and she's all like, yo, Jill is upset. Like, you came back from this date, like, head over heels. Like, what's the deal, dude? And like Jacobs turns to Kira, pretty much lets her down easy, is all like, you know what? I think it's really hot that you came back here to like say your piece, but like I don't really feel like we haven't had a connection or have a connection, and I'm feeling Jill, and like I, you know, wish you the best of luck. And she's like, all right, because honestly, it felt very much so forced. Like when she was saying stuff to Jacob, it felt like they were lines that were fed to her. Like it didn't feel real. Yeah. But then, you know who comes and finds her on the beach as she's starting to walk away is Romeo, because Romeo is desperado because he has nowhere to get a rose from, and they had a thing. And
you gotta respect him though. At least he's making moves. Like he's like, well, if this girl's about to leave, let me
what
see.
Can I do?
Yeah, I think he did it with Salley too. At some point, I was like,
he did. Yeah. He did. He tried it. He tried to. Yeah. He tried to.
Well, Romeo, you know, I don't know, man. I really don't. It was like they were doing weird things with his edit and stuff. Like, you know, she ends up asking him if, or like they have like a conversation, like, you know, obviously she's like hurt from being rejected from Jacob, having somebody come up to her, and you know, they share an embrace and a kiss, and she presents him with an option.
The option is to leave the beach with her right then and there.
Which then it takes another 24 hours for him to respond. No, just joking. But it seemed like
they just keep doing like them looking at each other, and his face looks so unsure because he's all like,
I feel like he just wants to stay on the beach, like, you know.
I mean, I think he does. I mean, who wouldn't? But he's all like, I'm not going to be able to stay on the beach because nobody's going to give me a freaking rose. So.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, that's how crazy he is. He thinks like he's actually thinking like, if I stay on the beach, somebody might come down that I might have a chance with. And I might be just, and it might be true, but it's probably not. Like, you know,
probably not.
This was his best option. Like he got lucky. He had this one last option to kind of. But even when they were like leaving, he says yes. They did this weird zoom in on his face, like
he's not. He didn't want to leave. Yeah. It just you could tell.
But
you could tell it was uncomfy. But that just, you know, eliminates another dude that won't, you know, be sent home by default. But, that's week 3 for us. And next week is when it looks like we're finally getting into the big twist, which looks like we
got a good look at the girls that are coming in, and there's some hots.
There's hotties that are going to be temptation. So I think they're doing what, like on Love Island, it's called Casa Amor, where it's like pretty much they bring in a whole new set to like
see. This is why I was thinking, like, why wouldn't they save Victoria Fuller for like this part? You know what I'm saying?
I know. You would think.
I just feel like, I don't know. I think there was maybe because of her interest in Justin, she was sent in early to like break up the
that whole bit. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about there's some cuties. What's her name from Clayton's season that got pretty far? That one girl. What's her name? Sarah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, she's there. A couple hotties from the past. So I mean, I don't know. It's not looking good for a lot of the girls. You know,
and it's looking like they're all gonna just be crying messes for like a couple of days.
Yeah,
as they wait to figure out.
I feel like it's like there's just a sense of being a little unfair.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. The guys are really sweating, I guess, this week. Some of them, but it seems unfair. Like I feel like we should also have like a version where the guys have
to also sweat this way.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't feel like.
They're going to do that.
I don't know. I feel like guys are stupider in that sense. I just said the word stupider.
Stupider.
But yeah, I'm excited about hopefully, you know, the news that we're getting. How many more weeks of Bachelor in Paradise?
Like 3.
3 more weeks. That's 6 more episodes. So, you know.
It's 5 more because there's 1 week where there'll only be 1.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, lucky us. Well, that's pretty much it. Any other news coming out of Bachelor Nation?
Yes. So Clare Crawley, speak of her, is engaged to her, boyfriend. What is his name? Ryan Dawkins, who I think he works in like sports or whatever. And I guess, it's only been a month since they went Instagram official, but I guess they've known each other for over a year and started dating not long after that, and she just really wanted to keep him on the down low because obviously we know how everything has gone.
I mean, wish him the best. They'll probably be divorced, I'm just telling you, there's just no freaking way.
I mean, divorce rate is 50%. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's clear too. Like, it's just like,
oh god,
I don't know. This guy has to be like down to clown, but. Yeah, anyways, so that's pretty much it. Excited for next week's episodes. So make sure you're subscribing, comment. What do you think? Do you think it's fair that the girls are going to have to be put in a hotel for a week and the guys get the hottie hots come in? Do you think that they're going to bring hottie hot guys down for the girls? And let us know in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Do you think, I'm just making up questions now, but like, it'd just be interesting if you guys answered it sometimes. Do you think Romeo wanted to leave the beach, or do you think if he stayed that he would have had a chance? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll talk to you next week about Bachelor in Paradise.
Future Bachelor Podcast.